Ladies and gentlemen, today I have an ambitious video, and the concept, as you've seen by the title, is very simple. Today, I'm gonna try to build the greatest NBA team of all time. The rules are pretty simple. We're gonna have a starting five. We're gonna pick a backup for each position. I'm gonna pick a coach. We are also assuming that there are no duplicates. We are also assuming that every player is in their prime. Or you know what, let's make it more interesting. I'll pick a specific year of each player I wanna pick. We are gonna be using today's rules. And this should be interesting because going into this video, I don't have my roster built already. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be building it legitimately in this video as I'm recording it. But before we get into it, man, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel hosted by your boy B Souls. I can't even say Ned Souls anymore because have y'all seen this man recently? I hope everyone's having a good day. Hope everyone's having a good week. Shout out to the Let's Keep It a Buck podcast. Links will be in the description. This week we have Clicks Production. Shout out to this guy from the last video. We are rocking the white windscreen for this video. Leave a like on the video if you like videos like this. It supports the channel. It takes 2 seconds. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with my latest uploads. And leave your greatest all-time squad in the comment section down below. I want to see what squads y'all are going to build. But with that being said, let's get into it. So as you can see, I came into this thing, you know, a little bit prepared. I prepared a Photoshop file for us to edit, you know what I'm saying? Visualize every move I make. We got a point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. But I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the video. I will not be restricting everyone in their specific positions. I'm strictly going into this thinking of building a squad that literally no one can beat. So one thing I'm pretty confident in choosing going into this video is I want LeBron as my point guard. I want LeBron as my point guard. Specifically, you know, I'm honestly deciding between this year's LeBron and 2018 LeBron as my point guard. The only reason I'm hesitant on 2018 LeBron is because that year, he really wasn't that good defensively, if I'm keeping it honest. And if anything, he was criticized a lot for his defensive skill. However, in terms of scoring, that might be the greatest LeBron version of all time, if I'm being honest. Like, the shots he was making in the playoffs, from the mid, from the three, going into the paint, that dude was unstoppable. Unstoppable. Again, keep in mind that when I'm making this roster, I'm thinking about fit, first and foremost. And at the point guard position, if I can get a 6'8", 6'9" point guard, one of the best passers of all time, regardless of if he led the league in assists or not this year, can grab you 7 to 8 rebounds, can score 25 to 27 points a game, was pretty decent on defense as well this year. I would say, you know, better than Magic or Curry defensively. I think I'm gonna go 2020 LeBron as my starting point guard. Yo, side note, that picture, that's literally a work of art. Literally a work of art. All right, there you go. We got LeBron James at point guard. I think I'm going to get heat for that just because this might not even be the best version of LeBron. You know what I'm saying? But I justified my reasons, man. I justified my reasons. Now, the next thing I actually want to address is the center position. Because, like I said in the beginning of the video, we are working with new era rules. And what we've seen, specifically the last 5 years, is how important spacing is. Because you can have all the talent on the world on paper, but if it doesn't fit on the court, then it might not be the greatest, you know, fit, or there might be a better collection of talent that might not have as much star power, but will do better on the court because the pieces fit together. So at the center position, again, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm picking like, I don't know, like Karl Anthony Towns over Wilt Chamberlain, but I am a little cautious in who I'm picking at the center position. But again, I also don't want to overthink it. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of talented players to pick from, but I think I'm going to go Hakeem Olajuwon at the center position. I think that's who I'm going to go with. The reason being is that Hakeem in his prime, at the peak of his powers, I believe that is the greatest center of all time in terms of how he carried that squad, the numbers he was putting up, and the fact that he won it all. Like, let's take a second to actually look at Hakeem's prime, right? And what we're talking about here is either 1994 or 1995. I'm going to go with 1994. And what you see, what you get as a player who can give you 27 points a game, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks a game, 2 steals, has arguably the greatest post game of all time. Honestly, despite being a center, one of the most versatile defenders of all time. And in terms of shooting and spacing, he's better than a Shaquille O'Neal or a Wilt Chamberlain or a Bill Russell. Like, bro, just look at these runs. Look at these, like 1995, 33, 10, 5, 3, and a steal. 1994, 29, 11, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks a game in a championship run. And in terms of passing, it's not like he was unable to pass at all. I mean, he's had years where he's averaged 4, 3 assists a game, which again is nothing crazy, but he's not a black hole on the offensive end. So I'm gonna go with Hakeem as center. All right, there you go. There you go. Hakeem Olajuwon is our center. Now, the next thing I want to address are the 2 wing positions, because I have 3 main candidates for that wing position. Because again, keep in mind, please keep in mind, this is not a greatest of all time list. I'm thinking about fit. And at the 2 and 3, I'm thinking of 3 players specifically: Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. I really could put all 3 of them in that lineup and call it a day. And that lineup is insane. But I think defensively, having KD or Jordan at the 4, that's not going to hold well. That's not going to hold well. Or even if you put LeBron at the 4, 2020 LeBron at the 4 going up against all-time teams is very suspect. Very suspect. And I think, honestly, the obvious pick here is at least Michael Jordan, because that's the greatest of all time. Worst case, most people have him at like 3. If you're one of those people that have Kareem at 2 all time. And I don't think this lineup would be right without Michael Jordan. I'm going to pick Michael Jordan, 1, for that reason. 2, we need some more perimeter defense, because again, like I said, LeBron James is good defensively this year, but if we can get Michael Jordan as a perimeter defender, that'd be insane. But I'm looking at what specific Jordan I want to use, and I'm thinking of going 1993. I'm thinking of going 1993, simply for the fact that offensively, you are getting one of the most well-rounded Jordans of all time. This was a Jordan that was still really close to his physical prime. As you can see, he was still good enough to average 33 points a game on pretty much 50% shooting from the field, 84% from the free throw line. But also in terms of three-point shooting, this is also one of his best years, as he shot 35% on 3 attempts a game. Now, that's nothing special in the grand scheme of things, but keep in mind that, again, I am looking for spacing. We can also use some perimeter defense on this lineup right now, and Michael Jordan is one of the best perimeter defenders of all time. And you can, like, even aside from all that, you really could make a case that this is the greatest Jordan of all time, because this is a Jordan that's, again, near his physical peak. He was still putting up the numbers. He was still one of the best defenders in the league, but you're talking about a Jordan that was winning championships as well and getting it done in the playoffs. And just look at his finals. Like, this might be the greatest finals performance of all time. 41 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and a block a game on 51% shooting from the field, 40% from 3. Oh my. Yo. I'm going with 93 Jordan as my shooting guard, bro. Jesus Christ. All right, there we go. We got Michael Jordan in there. So just a quick recap of what we have so far. We got 2020 LeBron James, 1993 Michael Jordan, and 1995-1994 Hakeem Olajuwon. Really, I don't care. Just Hakeem Olajuwon in his prime. Now the small forward and power forward position. Now, even with Michael Jordan in the lineup, this lineup could still use spacing. It really could. And look, I love Kobe. I really do. Like, I really do. My favorite player of all time. 1A, 1B with Rondo. But I'm going to have to go Kevin Durant. I'm going to have to go with Kevin Durant at the small forward position. Now, you might be saying, what about Larry Bird? Bezos, you haven't really mentioned Larry Bird. The reason I'm not even considering Larry Bird is, one, I think defensively, Kevin Durant got him beat. Not by a mile, but I would favor Kevin Durant. And in terms of the catch and shoot 3, which is really what we need in the small forward position, I'm taking KD over Larry Bird. And although Larry Bird was a good 3-point shooter for his time, especially for his time, KD, that dude is a monster, bro. Dude is literally averaging like 27, 28 in his sleep on 50, 40, 90 every single year with the handles of a guard. And dude is an offensive masterpiece. I don't even know how to put it. Now, in terms of the specific year, you know, it might be obvious to go with MVP KD. Dude is averaging 32 points on 50, 40, 90 pretty much. But I want to emphasize that right now I'm looking for the best catch and shoot 3 version of KD pretty much. Because okay, all of his versions, aside from his first couple of years in the league, they're all elite scorers. You know what I'm saying? But specifically for this lineup, I want the best catch and shoot KD. And I'm looking at 2017 KD. I'm looking at 2017 KD. Now, I know those numbers might be a little inflated. They're inflated because of the help he's had in Golden State. But once again, we're talking about an all-time team here, and he's going to have all the help in the world. So, I'm going to choose 2017 KD. This is also one of his best defensive years in the league. And in the playoffs, man, look at Jesus Christ. 29 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists on 56, 44, 89 splits. That's exactly what I need. That is exactly what I need. So I'm going to go with KD at the small forward position. Now, there you go, man. KD at the small forward position. Now we're going to look at the power forward position. And again, the way I want to structure this team, that's the reason I really wanted to save power forward for last, because I really don't know. I really don't know. I could go with a guy like Kevin Garnett or Tim Duncan there, but I feel like, again, the spacing is going to be sus if you have Hakeem, KG, and Michael Jordan on the same team. You know, I could go with Dirk, but I feel like he would be too much of a defensive liability for this lineup. Giannis kind of doesn't really make sense because we already have enough ball handlers on the team. And aside from ball handling, I think I can find or look somewhere else for what Giannis can bring to this team. I just want to look at my list real quick. Okay, so here's my plan. We can either put Dirk at the 4, because I feel like if we put any other player in there, that kind of defeats the purpose of having LeBron at point guard. But at the same time, if we put Dirk in there, defensively, I'm not feeling too good about our wing positions. I really am not. But, now hear me out. What if we put 2013 LeBron at the power forward position, right? And put Chris Paul at the point guard position. Because obviously, look, Chris Paul, he's not the scorer that LeBron James is even this year. He never was, right? But prime Chris Paul is one of the best perimeter defenders of all time. Prime Chris Paul is one of the best passers of all time. He's also one of the most efficient scorers of all time. So now the question is this lineup right here, with 2020 LeBron at the 1 and Dirk at the 4, better than this lineup? Where we have 2009, anywhere from 2009 to 2015 Chris Paul really at the 1, and 2013 LeBron at the 4. I'm thinking of this lineup if I'm being serious, because I think the reason we even ended up with this lineup was simply because we started with LeBron at the 1. I think that is simply why we ended up with this lineup. But if we switch it up, we get this lineup. And I think this lineup compared to this lineup is better, both offensively and defensively speaking. I'm really liking this squad, man. I'm really liking this squad. The only weakness this squad has is if this squad goes up against like Tim Duncan and Shaq. You know what I'm saying? KD and LeBron are gonna have to do a lot of teamwork to stop like a big man duo like that. Now, in terms of the coach, I think I'm gonna have to go with Phil Jackson, simply for the fact that I think the triangle offense will work really well with the squad because it does have spacing. We do have a post player in Hakeem Olajuwon, and pick a wing between Jordan, KD, and LeBron. And I think this lineup will dominate. I can't think of a lineup better than this. What's up, y'all? Edit Souls in the building, and I'm gonna keep it being with y'all. As I'm editing this video, I'm not feeling too confident about this squad. I honestly might just prefer putting LeBron at the 1, putting KD at the 4, MJ at the 3, and putting Kobe at the 2 compared to this lineup. But, yeah. Now, in terms of the bench, as my backup point guard, I got to go with Steph Curry. I have to go with Steph Curry, simply for the fact that if we really need shooting and if we really need spacing, plug in Curry and you got the greatest shooter of all time. So I'm going with Stephen Curry as the backup point guard. And before my camera dies, let me just write that down because this shit might die. And as a backup shooting guard, I'm going to have to go with Kobe Bryant, simply for the fact that if Michael Jordan's shooting isn't enough, I can plug in Kobe and he's going to give you a lot of what Michael Jordan brought. Not to that degree, but a little bit more shooting. So we're going to have Kobe Bryant as a backup shooting guard. Now, the backup small forward, I'm really choosing between Larry Bird and Kawhi Leonard, which is crazy. But I think I'm going to go with Larry Bird because I think this lineup could use a little bit more playmaking. So I'm going to go with Larry Bird as my backup small forward. As my backup power forward, I'm going to have to go with Kevin Garnett. Because he brings so much versatility and you can plug him into so many lineups that I feel like Kevin Garnett would be great as a backup power forward with this lineup. Or I could go Tim Duncan. Let me go Tim Duncan. Because I know KG could stretch out the floor a little more, but I feel like Tim Duncan is a much more dominant scorer, can bring you a lot of what KG brings defensively, and he gives you more post presence if we need it as well. And as a backup center, got a lot of choices here. We got Shaq, we got Kareem, we got Bill Russell, we got Will Chamberlain, we got Anthony Davis. You know what? Hot take. But I think I'm picking Dirk as our backup center, simply because I feel like having Shaq or Kareem would be redundant. Because if we're being honest, we could put Tim Duncan at center if we really need a guy who has great post presence, who can still be a great shot blocker. Tim Duncan can do a lot of things that the greatest centers of all time did. You know what I'm saying? But if you put in Dirk Nowitzki, that gives you, just something different off the bench that you can plug in. But really, it's Dirk as our backup center. And okay, let me. this is gonna make it a lot easier. Hopefully, I spelled that right. I'll check it later. I didn't. So there you have it. Our 10-man roster. Chris Paul at the point, Michael Jordan at the 2, KD at the 3, LeBron at the 4, and Hakeem Olajuwon at the 5. With Curry as our backup point guard, Kobe Bryant as our backup shooting guard, Larry Bird as our backup small forward, Dirk Nowitzki as our backup power forward, and Tim Duncan as our backup center, with Phil Jackson as a coach. Now, some notable names we left off. A lot of the great centers. Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were not even backups. But again, please consider that I'm thinking about fit. And I feel like if we included more of those all-time bigs in there and just really made the bench just based off of, greatest careers, there'd be a lot of redundancy. So that's why I didn't include those guys as even a backup. At the point guard position, Magic Johnson. Where is Magic Johnson? Again, I just don't see where he fits in this roster. Because I feel like if you put in Magic Johnson, you're really looking for playmaking. But we already have Chris Paul. We already have Larry Bird coming off the bench. We already have Stephen Curry. You already have LeBron James. So I don't know what Magic Johnson brings to this team. Also defensively, kind of some mid. He's kind of mid, I'm not going to lie. Those are really the only questions I think most people would have, aside from people being mad that Chris Paul in this prime might be better or more talented than a guy like Isaiah Thomas in his prime or John Stockton or something like that. I think this lineup is pretty damn solid, if I do say so myself. I don't know what else you can do, but that's gonna be it for this video. Leave a like on it if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm being serious. Leave your lineup in the comment section down below. 5 starters, 5 bench players, and a coach. Well, with that being said, deuces.